We are gathered together today to talk about holiday sex versus home sex. This is an integral part of having mind blowing sex. We are going to look at what happens in holiday sex and why, and what happens in home sex and why. And at the end, I'm going to summarize for you exactly what you need to do to have both be absolutely mind blowing. Because it shouldn't be one or the other, it should be both. That's what we want. We want we want both, we want more. We want the holiday sex and the home sex. We want more of the holiday sex and more of the home sex. We want both the holiday sex and the home sex. This is a topic that I have broken down in my own mind for years on end, and of course covered with my clients in the sanctity of private sessions, really picking apart what they can do to take the power back in any situation or context and own that they are not only a sexual woman, but an erotic alchemist, someone who can take any situation or context where they are willing and wanting to be sexually intimate and to turn it into something absolutely phenomenal. That is the point. But it takes a little bit of time, nuance, and specificity and personalization, because not everyone has the same conditions at home or the same relationship or the same holiday experiences. So as you listen to this, really start to think about your own environments, your own preferred novel environments, and how conducive they are to you being in your fullest sexual expression. Let's begin. I'm actually going to start with breaking down holiday sex. Again, something I've thought a lot about as an individual, as a woman, and as a sexologist over the last 13 years or so. Holiday sex can be so fucking satisfying because of the conditions that are set up to allow you to be so much more active than you are at home. Everything can get lined up so beautifully that there's the novelty, and I want you to highlight that word in your head. There's the novelty of the new environment. There's the feeling of being someone that you might not be able to really tap into when you're at home, when you're in the midst of things, when you're bogged down with what's going on in your business, your leadership. You get to be the woman who is in that beautiful state of decompression and relaxation. And you get to just ooze through your day if you've got minimal plans, and you get to luxuriate, and then you get to have one cocktail turn into a play in the bedroom that feels so spontaneous and unexpected. And it's just lush, right? And this is an experience that I had very, very recently. Part of the reason why it's on my mind. Holiday sex is so fun because your nervous system is already primed before things even begin. And that's key. That's something that you need to hold on to. Who am I when I'm on holiday? And why can I not be that same person when I'm at home? Where am I not allowing myself to be that same woman when I get home? Not just for the first couple of days or the first week, but as a permanent fixture of your identity. So when you're away, the first thing is you're in a novel environment. Maybe you're in a sexier environment than you currently live in. Maybe there's a sense of seclusion, a sense of opulence. You don't have to do the things that you're running around doing at home. You feel taken care of. You only have to worry about your immediate needs. Really think about all of the conditions that you orchestrate for a holiday. Something that feels like an escape or relaxation. And while you might not be able to completely replicate those conditions when you're at home, what can you do? What can you do to allow yourself to be more held and more taken care of when you're at home and in the thick of your business? And what will allow you to be in that open-hearted, warm, and receptive state? Sex is spontaneous on holidays for the most part. It's like, oh, how did this happen? How did this happen so fast? But really think about what's preloading that sex. That's where so much of the beautiful, rich data is for you. It's not just that sex happens spontaneously. Whoa, where did that come out of nowhere? It's that everything that you were doing and everything that you were being leading up to sex made it seem so effortless and so natural and like an organic next step. I love holiday sex personally. I love that my body is just, again, so receptive, so warm, that it feels like we don't have to care about the same things that we care about when we're at home. But if I was only having good quality, satisfying, mind-blowing sex while I was on holidays, I would be a little concerned. I would start to be going, okay, this shows us that there's something to be done about our sex life at home. And there's something to be done about the state of our nervous systems. And there's something to be done about the state of novelty as well. Because on holidays, you can be like, whoa, yes, 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 yes. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll go along with this. Yes, I feel open. Yes, I feel free. But if you can't be that same sexual woman when you're at home, we've got work to do. I wholeheartedly believe it should be one and the same. The quality of sex should be exactly the same. The only thing that's different about holidays is the novelty piece, which is a turn on. I'll never deny you that. And we're not looking to rank sex here as like better or worse or more satisfying or less satisfying. It's more that you can create some really beautiful, significant, erotic memories in novel spaces. Like you're going to remember that sex a little bit more because the conditions were different. But it begs the question, how can you inject novelty into your sex life at home? So let's talk about home. Home is where you are probably going to have sex majority of the time, depending on your lifestyle. So feel into your own situation as you listen to this. Your bedroom should be a completely erotic, welcoming space for you. It should feel like a sanctuary for you, and you should feel incredibly comfortable to not just have sex in your bedroom, but to make sound in your bedroom. And the reason I say sound is that sound amplifies sensation, and you should be free to make it. You should be free to make sound in your own bedroom, sounds of pleasure. If you're a parent listening to this, I find it interesting that in general, parents are more comfortable with their children hearing them squabble, have conflict, argue, than they are making sounds of pleasure during sex. We really need to unpack that one. We're not going to do it right now, but sit with it. Sit with what the worst thing is about the potentiality of being heard in sex and what you think it says about you. What you think it says about your relationship and intimacy. And how are you educating, if you're reserved about being heard in sex, how are you holding back, not just in the bedroom, but in sharing some of that education with your children? Something we consciously do, and it did happen quite a bit on holidays, was Ed and I would show our affection for each other in front of the children. Of course, it was in that affectionate realm. It didn't move any further. But we were specifically going there when we had the impulse, because even though they go, ooh, that's gross, and ooh, that's disgusting, we want them to know that this is actually more natural than fighting, than conflict, or this should be embraced more than conflict or fighting or anything that feels heated or charged. We want them to be witness to the whole spectrum of communication and expression between the two of us. And when I say the whole spectrum, I mean all the different ways that we connect, that we disagree. I want them to have a very realistic picture of what it is to be an adult, of what it is to be in a long-term relationship without censorship. I want them to be privy to that so that when they enter their relationships, they feel completely educated and prepared for what it actually requires. I don't want them to get a thin slice of everything's fine or good, but deep down, words are being held back. Expression is being suppressed. True feelings are being repressed. I don't want them to have that. I had that, and I don't want them to have that. So when it comes to sound and affection, and if you are concerned about children and them hearing that or being witness to that, it really begs the question, what are you gently introducing them to now as they grow, as they evolve, and as they change? And how are you speaking about sex? How are you being playful with your partner in front of them? Are you showing them that? Or are you concealing it from them and keeping it quote unquote private and secret? There's another way. And you get to role model the sound, the laughter, the closeness, the touch. You get to role model that for them. So yes, your home sex life should be absolutely incredible. It should be. Your room should be a sanctuary, an erotic sanctuary, where you can change it and you can evolve it and you can bring novel sensations, novel pleasure objects, even novel lighting, which is one of my favorite tips and tricks. I love a red globe in one of my lights in the bedroom. It just immediately transforms the space into this sultry den instead of just plain old bedroom where I read on the bed and go to sleep. So use novelty, inject novelty. If you walk into your bedroom, just listening to this episode right now or at the end of it, and you go, how like erotic is this space? Does it feel erotic? Does it feel romantic? That might be more your style. Does it feel beautiful? Does it feel like a space that can hold you? It's always a priority for me, no matter what is going on in the rest of the home, that the bedroom is minimalist, really minimalist. Because at any moment that sex does happen, I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to be glancing over and seeing something that totally turns me off. My bedroom feels like one of the safest erotic spaces in the world because I've curated it that way. And there's room for improvement. There always is. But right now, I know that that physical space and context allows me and supports me to let go as deeply as I want to let go and to make as much sound as I want to make. And a lot of that goes back to the internal experience of sex and doing that deep work there over the last 13, 14, 15 years. 15 years. So it's about both. It's about having the external environment and context feel conducive to mind-blowing sex, whether at home or on holidays, but also doing the inner work so that even if you do get distracted by something, you know how to go back inward, to alchemize it, and to get back into the rhythm and the mode where sexual expression and arousal and pleasure is so fucking welcome and nurtured. That's what we're here to do. So holiday sex versus home sex, is one better than the other? No, definitely not. We want both. We want to create erotic memories at home that feel profound and significant, and we want to be open to creating them on holidays as well. You should have both, and you should have both without pressure, without coercion. And just on that note, one of the cons of holidays and getting a hotel room for your date can mean that you do feel that pressure and that coercion. That, oh shit, we're away and I should feel relaxed and it should be the time that we fuck and it should be the time that we go for it. So this is where having a really strong, pleasure-filled sex life at home is actually the thing that we go for first when you enter my work. That's the foundational piece, because that's where most people are more often, and that's where statistically sex is most likely to happen on a more regular basis. That creates the foundation that is your bedrock of your sexual expression. And from there, when you go on holidays, it gets to be so fun, explorative, it gets to be novelty filled, it gets to be like, fuck, this space is amazing. And then you get to go, how can I make my bedroom and my home feel more like this? How can I have my life and my body feel more like this? So you get to inject little power pieces into your home over time. And then your home life and sex at home gets to feel as good as it does on holidays, right? Holidays are just a ... and a little bit more of what you're already doing. That's where it gets to be really, really fucking good, because there's no pressure anywhere. There's no pressure at home. There's no pressure for the holiday. You are a sexual woman and an erotic alchemist, no matter where you are, no matter what environment or context you are in, where you choose to have sex. It doesn't matter. It really becomes irrelevant. This is where all the power is, and what is on the outside just gets to be a reflection of that, or an extension of that. That's where you get to be so fucking powerful. And that's where you get to have a sex life that is unrecognizable from what it is that you've experienced up until this point. The power for you isn't just in wanting sex more often or having quote unquote better sex when you're at home, when you're on holidays. The power is in taking raw charge of any and every emotion that you feel, whether it's anger, grief, hurt, frustration, and alchemizing it through sex. It's in possessing a libido that's nimble, elastic, fluent, one that gives you infinite choice, one that can take any state and use it as sexual fuel for you and your relationship. One that turns what lives outside the erotic into the erotic at your will fast. Fast is my favorite part. When you work with me, you become your own erotic alchemist, able to create deep intimacy, expand your full range of sensation, and orchestrate your release at any time you choose. And in the process, you'll own that your sexual repertoire is far richer than you've ever given yourself credit for. Want it? Go to laurenwhite.com.au to start the journey of becoming an erotic alchemist.